Welcome back to Looking for Geeks wrestling coverage. It's been a while since I've done one of these updates. Let's take a look at what's been going on. So, I did watch Wrestlemania, and it was a pretty solid show overall. Unfortunately, the weeks afterwards, I would not say the same thing. It's been kind of a slow decline the entire time. Leading up to the Superstar shakeup, I thought, well, that's kind of their reset after the reset of WrestleMania. And things just kept getting weirder. So the shakeup happened. A few stars moved back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. Nothing too huge, but a couple of bigger names here and there. The problem is, right after that, we got the wild card rule, which means that the brand split's almost negligible at this point. They say it's 4 stars back and forth, but honestly, they don't seem to be keeping count. This is the main reason I haven't been doing any updates. WWE just doesn't interest me enough to cover recently. There are 2 notable exceptions here, that being Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse, which has been consistently brilliant and kind of scary, which is really saying something for WWE programming. Generally, they don't let things get too emotional one way or the other, and these have been very creepy. We haven't seen him in the ring yet, and I'm kind of afraid to see what happens at that point. But I do have some hope. In addition, R-Truth winning the 24/7 title was a stroke of brilliance. That man can make anything seem more fun, even if it's not that important in the larger scheme of the show. If you haven't seen it yet, go look up his hiding rap from the other day. It's hilarious. Now, one thing that did get me back into wrestling recently was All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing. If you didn't see the show, go see it. This harkens back to the old days of the Monday Night Wars when both brands were struggling to outdo the other to put on a great pay-per-view. This is honestly one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in the last couple of decades. In sharp contrast to WWE, the story is told by the action in the ring rather than with promos. Now, this isn't to say that promos aren't a thing in AEW, just the opposite. They're not scripted promos. Sure, they're given bullet points and general guidelines that they have to hit, but it's been very freeform otherwise. And you can see this in Jon Moxley's first couple of promos that you can find on All Elite Wrestling's YouTube channel. Speaking of Moxley, he debuted at AEW's Double or Nothing, beating down Jericho, a ref, and having a prolonged beatdown of Kenny Omega involving a really nasty ending. If you haven't seen it yet, don't want to spoil it, go watch it. In addition to this, Mox is scheduled to face Juice Robinson in New Japan. He's also scheduled for several indie dates throughout the US. Most importantly, he's been announced for Fyter Fest in June, and it looks like he'll be facing Joey Janela. Now, whether or not this will be a hardcore match, like Moxley was previously known for and Janela is currently known for, is hard to say. AEW wants to keep their stars healthy, but at the same time, it seems like Mox missed the violence. The one thing we don't know about Fyter Fest at the moment is whether it'll be on pay-per-view or on Twitch or some other streaming platform. Also confirmed at Double or Nothing, we'll be seeing the Rhodes brothers teaming up against the Bucks at Fight for the Fallen in July. The other big announcement coming out of Double or Nothing is that we'll be seeing Jericho take on Hangman Page at the follow-up for All In, All Out, coming up in August. The winner of that will become the first AEW World Champion. Now, I'll note they're not saying World Heavyweight Champion, as they've intimated that they're not planning on having all that many belts, and they don't want things to be based on weight. What this really means for the future is debatable, because we just don't know where it's really going, but it does sound interesting. If we have one singles title for the men and the women, and a tag team title, maybe even a women's tag title, who knows? But I don't think we'll be seeing a junior championship. Whether this is good or bad is up for debate, but it certainly sounds interesting. Of course, with All Out coming in August, where does that leave the TV show? They have announced that they will be doing a weekly show on TNT, and speculation was that it'll start in October. However, the fall season generally starts in September, so could we see that pushed up, or will they start rather in the middle of the season? At the same time, sports are usually handled differently, not necessarily falling into the usual TV schedule. And with All Elite being presented as more of a sporting competition than an entertainment show, they could be following their own rules in that regard. One of the strangest pieces of news coming out after Double or Nothing is that Joey Ryan did not sign an offered contract with AEW. Now, he had been offered a contract with WWE previously to show up in NXT and act as a coach in the next couple of years. It was announced that he will be making an announcement on May 30th. That could be just before this video airs, so we'll see where this goes. My guess, however, is that rather than going to NXT, Bar Wrestling may become the NXT of AEW. Let me know if I was right in the comments. That's all the big wrestling news right now. I'll check back in a week or so and see where things are going in the future.